Cool. Let's get in here. It's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out for the program today.
Same.
So I want to begin our journey before we get into your good work by asking you this. It's something that we haven't talked about a whole lot, I think, as a collective, but 6 years ago, this pandemic was changing our lives, changing the world. How did you get through that era, and how has it changed the way that you work and live today?
Sure. So we got through it pretty well. My wife was pregnant at the time, and in November 2019, we moved to a house on the beach in Puerto Rico. So the backstory, I was speaking at an event in New Jersey. We got done at the event. We went back to the hotel, and no knock on New Jersey, but I looked out the window. I was like, we should go somewhere.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, excuse me? I'm like, I don't know. There's such pretty places in the world. And I'm like, I'm staring at like a car park. Like we should go somewhere. The event's done. We're good. Like there's an airport up the road. Why don't we just go pick a plane and go? We like playing airport roulette. So we were like, okay. So we packed our bags, headed to the airport. And originally we were like, oh, we'll go see a client of mine in Kentucky. That'd be fun. Like go to his house. And so we tried to catch a flight to Kentucky, and a storm came through on the runway and actually just flash flood. We were in the international terminal somehow, and all the people got pushed back into the terminals. There was thousands of people sitting all over the ground waiting for the rain to go away. But there were two planes still taking off. One was going to Naples, Italy, and the other one was going to Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. And I was like, well, here's our chance to play. So which one? It's up to you, honey. And she was like, ooh, I've really wanted to go to Naples. It sounds so romantic. But we haven't seen that side of Puerto Rico. I was like, okay, let's just take it. So we switched our tickets, got on that plane, took off 8 o'clock at night, lands at like 2 in the morning. We were disorientated, just found a hotel, went to bed. Next morning, booked an Airbnb for the week. And we always promise each other when we go places, we won't just randomly buy a house. We're like, we need to come back at least twice or 3 times before we buy something. And we have a really bad streak of doing that. So we landed, we got this little Airbnb right on the beach, and we were like, this is so peaceful here, and it's warm and beautiful. People are friendly. And she was pregnant at the time, just a few months pregnant. We were living in Miami Beach. So chaos and busyness 24/7.
Yeah.
And we were interested in possibly doing Costa Rica while she was pregnant. Just my thought is a woman's body is 3D printing a human for 9 months, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like if you ever do that to an engine, like it's maxing out the engine.
Yeah.
And I know it's made to do that. And why not offset some stress by not living in a stressful environment at the same time? And so Miami is like New York City on the beach. It's 24 hours a day. There's buzzing going on in every direction. And so we moved from South Beach. And so we were considering Costa Rica, just because they love families, love babies, love pregnant women. Like they really take care of women there while they're pregnant. So much so we had a friend who was pregnant there, and she was in a line at the grocery store, and she had a little handbasket, walked to the back and was just waiting. And a little old lady saw her and was like, no, and grabbed her wrist and pushed people out of the way of the line and pushed her to the front and said, here, you're pregnant, go. And everyone's like, of course. Like, of course they let her through. And same thing landed up happening here with my wife. But fast forward, we went to CrossFit. We were working out, met some old guy named Harry. And he was like, hey, you guys visiting or looking for property? Or I'm like, just visiting. And he's like, well, I got a pocket listing if you're interested. I'm like, sure, why not? We'll see it. So the next day we got in his car and I said, either this is how we died on an island, or B, he's taking us to see a house. Luckily it was a house. So he took us to see this little house, beautiful little handmade house. We were like, that's not what we're looking for. But we drove by this place that we live in now. And I was like, we should go look at the one. And she's like, we promised each other we're not just buying a property. I'm like, I know. So we drove back, parked in front of the gate. We were walking around. I didn't think about it till later, but we were walking around the edge of a house, like staring at the house from the gate. And this little Puerto Rican lady kicks the front door open, comes out, and she's like, what do you want? I was like, se vende? Is it for sale? She's like, yeah, call the realtor. I was like, do you actually want to sell it? And she looked at me. She's like, do you actually want to buy it? And I was like, I don't know. Is it worth buying? She goes, just a minute. And she slams the door, goes inside, comes out a second later. She goes, my husband says you can see it. She looked at me. She's like, you're from here. I'm not, but I'm brown. So she looked at me. She's like, you're from here. She like pointed at my wife. She goes, where's she from? I'm like, I'm not going to say I'm not from here. Sure. Okay. I'm from California, but yeah. Okay. She's from Michigan. She's like, okay, come in. Now, this lady talked shit the entire time she walked us around her house.
Wow.
So she's like, do you know how to do electrical work? I was like, no. She's like, men are useless these days. I was like, geez. She's like, do you know how to spackle? I'm like, yeah, I can spackle. She's like, show me. And she literally from nowhere, like a thing of spackle appeared. She handed it to me. She goes, show me. And I like took the thing and put it on the wall. She goes, you don't know what you're doing. God, men. And I was like, Jesus, like she really went after me for the whole thing. And luckily I have a grandma who's nippy like that. So it felt endearing to me. It felt like my grandma was just nipping at my heels as she did this. I thought it was funny. And at some reason it felt warm to me. So we were laughing. Anyways, 2 days later, we bought the house. And then we were like, hey, you know, if it's going to be a cool beach house. Even if we end up not even liking it, we can live there for a few years, sell it. At least we have a cool beach house in Puerto Rico. Yeah. So fast forward, that was probably June or July that year. We bought it, closed in October. We were moving in November, and my wife's belly was growing with our son. And so we were like, okay, we found our warm, tropical, slow pace of life. People love women, love babies, love families here. You know, give her a great place to offset the natural stress so she can relax. We move in. Fast forward, my dad's birthday is in Los Angeles in March. We fly out to LA. She's got her belly growing. And then the whole world shuts down. And we land up, you know, God's plan, we land up in a beach house on an island in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by nature and animals. And they were strict here, though. They had the same rules as New York City. So we'd go for a walk, and she's got her big belly out in front of her, and we're walking down the road between like cows and horses and fields. And somehow the police would still come find us and be like, where's your Airbnb? And we're like, we live here. And they're like, you sure? I'm like, we do. And they're like, where? And we told them our house. They're like, well, why are you walking? You know the rules. And she turned sideways and showed the belly. And we're like, well, the doctor says we have to walk for health reasons. And they'd be like, well, okay, stay close to your house then. Fast forward, one of my favorite memories was midway through the year. She was like, I just need to be in water. Like people told her the physical weight of the belly pulling, if you get in buoyancy, then it takes the pressure off for women. And she's like, she's probably 7 months pregnant. She's like, I just need to get in water. And we didn't have a pool. So we're staring at our neighbor's house. I'm like, we could try to jump the fence. I don't know, a pregnant lady jumping the fence is a good idea. But we weren't allowed in the ocean, which is in front of our house, because it was illegal to go in the ocean. Yeah. I'm like, that's the most ridiculous concept. Yeah. But anyways, so we snuck down we have a little private pathway behind our house to the ocean. So we snuck down the pathway, and it was the cutest thing in the world. She waddled into the ocean. She lies back on her belly, and you hear the most beautiful sigh of relief of just, like, oh my God. It felt like the weight of the world came off her shoulders. Yeah. And she's floating and smiling and just so happy, like, oh my gosh, this is it. And then just then a boat goes by, and she's like, yes, she's a rebel. So she's like, finally, people are out, like, screw the rules. Yeah. And then as the boat keeps going, we hear woo woo. And it's the police boat that she was waving at that now turns directly towards her and starts speeding up towards her. Oh, no. And I'll never forget this picture of her 7-8 months pregnant, waddling at full speed out of the ocean with a police boat screaming in behind her, sirens going, and she's waddling up the beach like, oh. And I'm like, come on, let's go. And I grab her hand, and that was my son's first police chase in the belly. So we went waddling down the alleyway, locked the gates behind us, went into the house, and we're like, do you think they saw where we went?
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
So we were having fun during COVID. The other thing that happened, I used to tease and call her my VIP card, because they really do honor and protect women and babies here. Yeah. And so we'd go to the grocery store, and, you know, the 6-foot rule, you got to stay outside, only so many people at a time stuff. And so we'd get to the back of the line, and she'd waddle up, and everyone in the line would go, no, 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 no. And they'd push her to the front of the line. I'm like, dude, you're my VIP card. Like, I could skip the line in all these places with you. And about halfway through COVID, it worked. The second half of COVID, they decided it was too dangerous for pregnant women and babies. Oh. So we went to Costco, we got in line, and they were like, I'm sorry, ma'am, this is too dangerous for you. You're going to need to go wait in the car, and he can wait in the back of the line. Wow. I was like, dang it. VIP card doesn't work anymore. Yeah. Now I'm stuck at the back of the line, and she gets to sit in air conditioning the whole time.
That's awesome. What an adventure. So speaking of adventure, let's get into the work you're doing today. I'm going
Sure.
to put you in front of 12-year-olds. It's career day. And one
Yeah.
of the kids wants to know what you do for a living. How do you explain your day job?
Yeah, so the easiest way to say it is we've built some software via AI and API connections and webhooks and all this stuff that helps free up 15 to 20 hours of your parents' time so they can actually be there to play with you when you get home from school instead of having to sit at their desk and work the whole time.
Wow. What did you want to be when you were a kid? What was your dream job?
Oh my gosh. NBA player, surfer. God, I had a cool list. What were the other things? Explorer. I think I wanted, oh, I'll tell you a cool one. I was in Tampa at a business networking event. We were walking around and I walked to this guy like, hi, nice to meet you. Like, what do you do? And he's like, I'm a treasure hunter. And I grew up in personal development. So I was like, you look for the treasure in others? Like, tell me, treasure hunter? Like, what is that? He's like, no, I have a ship and a crew and we actually go out in the ocean and look for sunken treasure.
Wow.
I was like, you're a pirate? He started laughing. He's like, not exactly. We're not pirates. We're treasure hunters. And I felt bamboozled.
Yeah.
I was like, no one told me that was an option.
Uh-huh.
At what point could I have checked the box treasure hunter and got a ship with a crew and sailed around the world looking for sunken treasure? No one told me you could choose that in life. And so my second question was, well, have you found anything? And he goes, actually, we did. And I was like, what did you find? And I'm like, is it like a wedding ring that someone dropped or something? He's like, no, we found a Spanish ship that was sunk off the coast with silver and gold and ancient artifacts. And I'm like, no way. He actually got sued, I think, by the country of Spain because they wanted their historical value stuff back. And it was millions of dollars worth of silver. He's like, no, you didn't find it. I found it.
Yeah,
Like, if you want it back, you go find it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what the rules are on that one, but
Yeah.
that qualifies as a cool job. If I was a 12-year-old, I would definitely put that on the list next to NBA and surfer.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing.
And then my newest adventure, I actually got certified last year. This was kind of funny. I took my wife, son, and two friends on a 28-day road trip safari through Kenya and Tanzania. And we stopped at 5 different national parks. I drove the whole thing for us. And then we own a piece of land on a game reserve in South Africa that we're developing a house on. So it's 26,000 acres. We have elephants, rhinos, lions, cheetahs, zebras, the whole crew's running around. And in order to drive on the reserve, you have to take a class and get certified to have a little permit that you can drive the safari trucks around, at least on that reserve. And so after a 28-day, 5 national park road trip safari through 2 countries, I took the certification class and got certified as a safari driver. So I added that to my, well, not yet. I might add that to my LinkedIn soon.
That's awesome. So take me back to your childhood. What were all of these elements, these seeds that were planted that have become this cadre of skills that you have, this vision, the success?
Sure.
How did it happen?
Well, I'll tell you the inspiration by why I built the software company we're doing right now was I'm a new father. My son's 5. I realize how many hours per day I'm locked on my desk working, helping clients, growing businesses, figuring out stuff. And I started to see, the better you do in business, the more you land up sitting at your desk and you kind of miss out on the 28-day road trip safari or the going to t-ball practice or, the school play or all that little stuff. And when I was little, the way the world worked back then is if you wanted clients in different cities, you had to go to different cities.
Yeah.
Like we have clients now, thanks to the internet, in 137 countries. Like I've only been to 40 countries, so there's almost 100 countries I've never been to that we have active clients in. And that's all thanks to a little bit to COVID, a little bit to the internet, a little bit to everyone's used to doing these kind of Zooms and all this jazz now. Like back in the day when my dad wanted business in Kansas City or he wanted business in France or Spain or wherever, like he had to go there and he had to walk around and meet people and host an event and get people to show up and tell them why it matters. And so when I was little, he spent 350 days a year on the road, city to city to city, just to build an audience and connect with the people that he wanted to work with. And so often when I was little, I got to see my dad 2 to 4 times a year physically, because he was literally going and building. And there's no knock at him. I'm not mad at him for it. It's just the thing of, as a kid, when I really missed him, like I would turn on his infomercial and sit next to the TV and watch it and be like, well, at least I can hang out with dad for a half hour. He says the same shit every time, but at least I can hang out with him. And really, truly, at my grandma's house, I used to do it, and they'd feel so worried for me. And they're like, is he okay? And I'm like, I'm fine. I just miss dad. So I turn on his little show and watch him. And there, now I feel close to him for a half hour. Yeah. And that thought, and I didn't want my son to have that experience. And I certainly don't want other kids to have that experience, especially with the internet. And so my thought was, if I could take my own wound, my own thing that I felt was like, oh, that didn't feel good at all as a kid. And could I help other business owners who have that business that's requiring hours and hours and hours of time at their desk? Could I help them set up some systems and processes, use AI to the best we can, and start to free up 10 hours a week or 20 hours a week of their time, which we've been able to do. And it gives them a chance to go play with their kids, go hang out, go do what matters. And some of them are like, I'll build 12 more businesses then. Well, cool, go do that. But many of them, at least the ones we attract, instantly see the opportunity to hit the gym, work on their relationship, take that date with their spouse or loved one, and actually sit and play with their kids without feeling the tension and stress of, I need to be working, because we have automation helping take some of that work off their plate.
So who's been that inspirational force in your life that's allowed you to be this visionary, to have this success, and to become who you are today?
Yeah, there's 3 of them. So 3 of them really shaped me. Number 1, my mom. She was one of those people who, I mean, in the most loving way possible, she was just horrible with money. Like she'd have a maxed out credit card with a $5,000 limit, and it's $5,000 on the card, and she'd pay off $500 and say, honey, if you need anything, I've got $500 available. I'd be like, Mom, that's not how that works. Yeah. You're not up 5, you're down 4,500. Yeah. But to her, she was so generous, even when she didn't have it. And even in those moments, like we'd go out to lunch and she'd look out the window and see someone in need who looks hungry, and she'd buy them, with the 500, negative 4,500, but 500 open, she'd buy a $50 gift card for them for food and go hand it to them on the way out. I was like, wow, like she's really generous, even from a position of not being in a position to be generous, but she still chooses to be generous. Like that caring about others really came from her of just, wow. The other thing is, I've done a lot of studying on creating a secure attachment for your child, which makes them feel safe enough to tell you the truth and safe enough to go try things and fail and still have a place to come back to without getting beat up or shamed or wronged for failing. And she gave me that secure attachment anchor as a mother and a parent, where she's proud of me. And if I failed 1,000,000 times, as long as I keep going and failing forward, totally good. And so there's key things she kind of built into me. Another thing that I learned from her that was critically important was she always repeated this phrase, you're exactly where you need to be, not a moment further. And I'd always look at her like, really? As a kid, you're like, really, Mom? Seriously? But it was true. Like I remember leaving my grandma's house from LA, driving back to San Diego, and it was just pouring rain. And my mom wanted to, let's just wait a few hours till the rain passes. And I was stubborn because I wanted to be home and see my friends. So I'm like, we got to go now, Mom. And she's like, no. And eventually I'd be so stubborn. She'd go, fine, get in the car. And we'd start driving. It's horrible rain. She's like, this is not safe. But I'd be stubborn. And we'd get 20 minutes from grandma's house and forget something. And I'd go, oh, I totally forgot my whatever. And she'd go, gosh, okay, let's turn around, go back to the house, pick up the thing, turn around, start driving. And 5 minutes further from where we turned, there was a massive accident that happened at the exact time we turned around. Wow. And she'd look at me and so, see, I told you, we're exactly where we need to be. We thought, oh man, it messed up our plans. And in reality, we were redirected away from a major accident that we would have been right in the middle of if we would have kept going forward. Wow. She goes, see, I told you, you're exactly where you need to be. Wow. And I didn't realize growing up, not everyone was told that. Like I told my wife, honey, you're exactly where you need to be. And she goes, what does that mean? I was like, your parents didn't tell you that? She's like, no, they said, get up and get it done.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you got a different lesson. What's your lesson about? And I was like, man, I didn't realize that how valuable that lesson was in my brain. When stuff happens in my life, good or bad, I always hear my mom whispering, you're exactly where you need to be, honey. And it gives me just that grounded calmness to get through all of life's chaos as it happens. So mom was number one who shaped me. Number two is my grandma. Because dad was working and on the road all the time, and mom was also working to help supplement the bills and pay food and all that jazz, I'd often get left at grandma's house, and grandma was also working, but grandma took a different approach with me. So I remember I was 5 years old. She bought me my first suit, had it custom tailored to me, and then helped me learn the sales presentation for life insurance that she was selling. And so at 5 years old, I knew like 3 or 4 pages of the 12-page deck. And she would take me with her on presentations at 5 and let me present the 3 pages of the deck while she presented the rest. And so her and I were selling life insurance from the time I was 5 years old. And then she'd take me home and she'd have me help write the envelope names to the people we were mailing to and lick them and stick them. And she'd massively overpay me for doing very menial work. So, writing envelopes was $40 an hour and cleaning the house was $60. And so my dad took care of me, but my grandma spoiled the hell out of me as far as earning capacity goes.
Yeah.
And the thing she taught me was, she grew up in a time in Southern California where we're brown and, she's Mexican, American Indian. She has, Spanish. She has different heritage in our DNA. And she grew up in a time in Los Angeles where there was one city pool, and the city pool was segregated. So they'd allow the brown and black kids to swim, and then they'd pull those kids out and they'd have people drain the pool and bleach it before they let the white kids swim.
Wow.
I looked at my grandma, I'm like, they did what? Like, that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, keep going. What else did they do in LA at this time in history? And they're like, women could be secretaries when she was younger. That's the job they could take. And then you fast forward. She's like, yeah, your grandfather had a tailor shop and a coffee shop, those little businesses. And he saved up and bought rental properties, your great grandpa. And one time he bought a rental property on the other side of town. And they told him, you're not allowed to buy a property on this side of town. And he goes, excuse me? And they're like, and he goes, I'll do whatever the damn well I please. I have the money. I'll pay for the house. It's mine. And so he bought it stubbornly. And the next day they burn it down. Wow. And I was like, wow. So she grew up where things weren't fair. It wasn't easy. I remember years as I was always with her at different times that she'd come home from the office just crying because of something someone said to her at work for being a woman. And I was like, wow, she's like, she had to fight her way through all this stuff, man. None of this was handed to her easy. And the thing she taught me was she was number one in every single company she ever worked for. At some point, she was always number one. Number one sales rep. She has the key to the city of Los Angeles. She was Businesswoman of the Year of LA. Like, she was always number one at everything she did. And the thing she taught me was no matter what hand life deals you, always play it to win. And if you're going to play to win, win. And I watched her over and over and over again. It wasn't fair. It wasn't easy. It wasn't right. It wasn't just, but she won over and over and over again. And so she always distilled that to me. She'd tell me, like, life isn't fair, but that doesn't mean you can't win. Take what you have and figure out how to win with it.
Wow.
And I took that and I was like, cool. And I walk into stuff all the time. Sometimes it's fair. Lots of times it's not. But I always hear my grandma whisper, life isn't fair, and that doesn't matter. Take what you have and figure out how to win with it. You can always win if you want to. And so that stuck with me. And so mom's heart and caring, whispering, you're always exactly where you need to be. Grandma, play to win. Take what you have and figure out how to win the game with it. And the third person is quite honestly my dad. He was one of those people where 17 years old, he was quite the troublemaker and one hell of a rebel. And so I think he was bullwhipping his brother somewhere around the holidays. And my grandma, who was a wild woman, told him to stop, and he didn't. So she grabbed a knife and chased him out of the house. And kid 17 years old, living in his car, living in someone's laundry room. eventually sharing a 400 square foot apartment with my mom. They were, young kids trying to figure out their life and washing their dishes in the bathtub kind of jazz, as young people do. And from that point, I remember, he's done a hell of a lot in his life, but the concept, I met a friend of theirs who knew him when they were 17, 18, 20 years old. And I remember asking, like, tell me about him. What was he really like? Like, complete goofball? Like, tell me the truth. And she's like, nah, he was an interesting character. I was like, really? Tell me a story nobody's ever heard. And she's like, I'll tell you something interesting. This is a fun one. It was Thanksgiving. He had just gotten kicked out. Grandma kicked him out of the house. He was living in his car, and he was showering at my house every morning before work. So he'd come over, shower, put his little suit on, and we'd all go to work together. And at that moment, it was we were going to do a Friendsgiving because he certainly wasn't going home. Your grandma just chased him out of the house, and so that wasn't happening. So we're doing a Friendsgiving. Your mom came over, the other friend came over, and we're waiting on your dad. And the dude doesn't show up. We're like, where is this guy? And 4 o'clock, they're supposed to be at 3. So 4 o'clock, nothing, 5 o'clock, nothing, 6 o'clock, nothing. All of a sudden, 7 o'clock, he rolls in, and they're like, where were you? Like, we know you didn't go home. Like, you're fighting with your moms. You didn't go home. And you live in your car. You shower at my house, so you don't have any other friends. Like, we're your friends, so where were you? And he's like, oh, I was just doing this thing. And they're like, and? Like, what? They kept probing him, and he didn't want to share it. And he finally shared. He goes, when I was a kid, these people showed up at my house and gave us a food basket. And, we weren't going to starve, but we certainly didn't have like a full Thanksgiving meal. So they gave me a Thanksgiving basket to our family when I was a kid. And I always vouched when I made money sometime in my life, I'd always, give baskets to other people because I know how it felt being the one getting it when you really needed it. And he's like, so I save up my money and I go give food baskets to like a family in need during the, for Thanksgiving. And she said, she looked at him and she's like, you're in need, stupid. You live in your car.
Yeah.
and he's like, no. Like, I'm a young guy, like a family with kids in need.
Yeah.
And she's like, are you slow? Like, you're literally living in your car.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the funniest story.
Yeah.
Because again, same heart as my mom, but the ability that said, even when I don't have anything, I'll still take what I have and find a way to share it with others.
For sure.
And fast forward, I mean, the dude now is competing with Mother Nature. He has 100 billion meal challenge. And he's delivered 62 billion meals over the past 2 years out of a 10-year challenge he's doing, or not delivered. He has funded and put together the process to have 62 billion meals delivered. And so it's insane to go from a kid who was kicked out of the house, living in his car, saving up pennies to give one basket to a family, to a dude many years later who's able to give away in this project 100 billion meals is absolutely insane. And the lesson I take from him is really, truly, if you want it, anything is possible. If you can dream it and you're willing to do the work, you can have that wide range of possibility in life to experience whatever it is you dream of.
So at this point in your life, after this long journey of where you're at right now, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, business associates, everyone around you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
It's pretty simple. I'm a husband. Like, my main goals every year is to be the best husband I can be, to be an incredible father, to be present, to really, create memories for friends and family. At this stage, we've gotten to a point through investments and through business where we have two things: time freedom and a bit of financial freedom. And what I found out, when you get time freedom, financial freedom, one, it's really cool. Two, everyone else is still working. So I was like, from a selfish perspective, how do I help y'all make more money and get more free time so I can have more fun people to hang out with? Like a 28-day road trip safari is really cool, but it's even better when you can take some friends with you and enjoy memories together, not just by yourself.
Yeah.
And so that first experience was figuring out how to get me, before I met my wife, to that position, which took years of saving and investing and being smart and diligent. Then eventually it was getting my wife and I to be able to travel and do all this stuff. And then eventually my wife, my son, and I And now we're working on, okay, how do I learn business skills so I can help my friends figure their business out so they have more free time and a little bit more money so they can go do fun adventures with us. So we live between Puerto Rico and Cape Town every year. And last year we were really lucky. Our friend Naeem and Josephina are just getting married now. They came to Cape Town with us. And then on the spur of the moment, a month into our 4-month Cape Town trip, we decided to do Kenya and Tanzania for a month, and they were brave enough to go with us. And so we created memories that'll last a lifetime. Like we created moments that weren't all fun or easy. Like our tire blew out on the road at 11 p.m. at night on the road between Nairobi and Mombasa, which is one of the most dangerous highways in the world. And we had a massive blowout on the road 10 kilometers from our hotel at 11 p.m. at night. And the car's like, bruh, 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 bruh. And we barely get it into this little dirt pullout. And we get our headlamps on. It's pitch. There's no like highway patrol or anything. It's pitch black. We're out there. I'm like, first, look for snakes. Second, look for elephants. Nothing is going to come squish us. We're looking at this tire that's just shredded, and we're like, oh, crap. Then we go to the spare tire on the rental car, and it has a giant softball-sized lump in it. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. We're in trouble in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. And then we're looking, and we see this little motorbike with 2 people on it start weaving down a road in the darkness, and then it comes and it circles us, and we're like, oh, shit. And then it stops, and it's 2 young guys from the Maasai tribe, and they go, tourist? I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh, thank goodness. And I was like, what? And they're like, the only people who stop here are murderers and tourists. We were hoping you're tourists. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's kind of good to know, but are there murderers here too we should be aware of? Yeah. And they said, well, not right now. It's just you. But there is a very aggressive elephant that lives just over the hill right there. So you need to be very careful stopping right here. I was like, I knew there was an elephant around here. Yeah. I just had a weird gut feeling. And I was like, scorpions, snakes. And they're like, yeah, you're okay right here. Just watch your feet. And they're like, do you need help? I'm like, yeah, we definitely need help. And so 11 o'clock at night, 2 young guys from the Maasai tribe who were on the way back from their grandma's house back home, they pulled over on a motorbike and helped us winch up the truck and figure out how to switch out the spare tire. Wow. But those are memories we'll remember forever.
For sure.
I mean, that's a real adventure. Like lives on the line, angry elephant living next door. Like we don't know who the Maasai guys are that are coming out of nowhere. Yeah. And it turns out they're the sweetest human beings. I've stood friends with them. We chat all the time. Hopefully we'll go see them soon.
That's wonderful. So if anyone out there wants to dive into this software, save some time, ask you questions, anything in your world of business, where do they go? How do they do it?
Executiveoffice.ai.
Okay. I will put that link in the show notes. Last question. Of everything that you've done, seen, accomplished, overcome, what are you the proudest of?
Oh, man. Probably all the memories I create with my wife and son. Yeah. They're really, truly, like Apple has this little thing on my computer that like shows you pictures. Yeah. And one of my favorite things to do is just click it, go all the way back to the year I met my wife, and then just slowly scan and just see all the cool experiences we've had together and the places we've gone, the people we've helped, the schools we've built, or the houses we've helped paint for other people, just all the things we've been able to do together and not only do good for ourselves, but also try to do good for others too.
That's wonderful. Well, I will get all these links in the show notes. What a wonderful story. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. Continued success. Great to meet you, man.
Thank you.